I'm Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today we're going to talk all about history curriculum and the differences between the 4 brands that I have for you. Now, we have bought and used each one of these for at least a few months until we found the perfect fit for us. So I will show you which one that is, and I'll show you the differences between each brand. So stay tuned and let's get talking about history. Okay guys, so the first one I have for you today is Abeka. Now this is for grade 5. I bought it used obviously, and it did come in this condition, and I was not very pleased with that, but we still made it work for us. Abeka can be some of the most pricey curriculum, so I didn't really want to buy this used or buy it new. So with this, I have the maps and activities. This is the textbook. This is the map and activities book for me. This is the key. This is the student sheets. And then this is the answer key for the test. And now there's also a test booklet. I have them all packed away. So just know that there's also more booklets that go along with this. And we also bought the very large wall maps that go with this set. And I think they were $40 or $50 for the entire set. But they were really helpful when my son was doing this curriculum. Now, the best way that I can describe Abeka history is that if you went to public school, this is very much like public school history, just with a Christian worldview. Now, that being said, the tests are very rote memorization type of tests, and they have tests and quizzes all throughout their history program. Their history program also involves geography, so just know that you are getting a geography curriculum when you buy Abeka. Now, each chapter has a test at the end, and it's basically just their assignments typically every day look like this. They will read, okay, so this is chapter 14. So usually the first day they would read the introduction and then 14.1. And then the next day they would read 14.2. And they would answer questions as well. So there are questions all throughout these. So here is check 14A. So my child's assignment would be to answer these questions. So there's not really a whole lot that goes along with this other than just reading text, answering questions, and memorizing the answers for all the tests. And most of the tests come from these, and then the chapter reviews the chapters can be a little bit long here, guys, so I'm trying to flip so you guys can see. So here's other concepts too, and then here is the checkup, and this was probably the most dreaded day for my son. He had to answer all of these questions, and for him, because it was memorization, we actually used flashcards, and that helped him a lot with their testing. And then they would also have geography tests, and I'm going to show you inside of here. This is what the worksheets look like. They also get worksheets that go along with this curriculum. You're going to have skill sheets. You're going to have maps and keys. So there's all kinds of things in here, but we did find it just a little bit dry. So that is what Abeka looks like. And I'm sorry I don't have the other books. There are 2 other books that are test booklets and answers. So that is Abeka. And I typically buy a lot of Abeka used. Okay, so let's move on to The Good and the Beautiful. With The Good and the Beautiful, you get these 2 books plus a Keys of History game. I don't have that here. I have it in the other room, guys. Sorry. So this was year 1 course book. We liked this one a little bit better, and they do more of unit style. So they have blocks of time. So in this one, it was ancient history, Middle Ages and the Renaissance, French and Indian War, and the Victoria era. So you don't need a whole lot for this curriculum. It is a Christian worldview, but we didn't really stick with this one, to be honest. My kids really didn't have much of an interest in it. I think the only thing that they really liked about this one was the big book of history stories, where they kind of got to read some of these stories with the pictures, and you know, they liked some of the stories, and some of those really stuck with them. This curriculum does not have any testing to go along with it, which that was something that I was a little bit bothered by. And I know that not all learning is determined by testing, but I do like to measure how well they're comprehending the concepts, and I need testing for grading purposes for my umbrella school. So I liked the concept of this, but it wasn't for us. So there is the second history curriculum. Now here is Story of the World. I initially bought this just to read with the kids, and although there are some biblical figures like Abraham in the beginning, I didn't find it overtly Christian worldview, and I think it's old earth as well, and it has a lot of mythical Greek mythology and things like that interwoven inside. And my kids didn't really take to this one very well, but there were some cool stories that, you know, that boys kind of like here. And there's worksheets. We bought this booklet along with it, and it's all kinds of different review questions and activities and worksheets. And a lot of times I would read a chapter while the kids did a worksheet. So there's all kinds of pictures to color and maps and things like that. So this is a cool concept. So this might work for a lot of you if you want a really gentle approach to history. But just know the worldview that it comes from, and do a little research on the author as well. Now, last but certainly not least has been our favorite, and that is the Master Books curriculum for history. So my younger son is doing My Story right now. He is in 2nd grade. And my oldest in 6th grade is doing World Story 1. So let's go over what these two are. My Story is a really gentle but informative approach to history. They kind of go around the world in these little quests, and they read a section, and they do a worksheet. So at the beginning, just like any Master Books curriculum, they kind of show you what each concept is and what each phrase means. And then they have the daily schedule where, you know, you can see I marked off to make sure that we've completed it. And I end up putting tabs up at the top so I know right where to go. And this is all in one book. So the 2nd grade book, or the My Story books, are all one book. So there's no test booklet, there's no other worksheet booklet or answer key. Everything is inside of this book, and I'm going to show you. So here's the introduction after that, and then they jump right into the lessons. And you can know what lesson you're on just by sticking with this schedule right here. So we are right here in the middle of the book right now. But in the back, you have the answer keys and the quest pages. Now, I took them out, but you don't need to do that. And they have all kinds of tables, a table of contents of different things, and the appendix back here as well. So I took out the quest sheets and we put them in a notebook for him to fill out by himself. Now let's look at World Story. The older grades in history have 2 books. You're going to have a teacher guide and you're going to have the textbook. So my son sticks with this book. And just so you guys can get a little flip through of the inside, my 6th grader said that this was by far his favorite history curriculum ever. And he is actually excited every day to start history. And that says a lot about a kid who typically hates anything school related. So he gets excited and he tells us all the things that he learned every day at the dinner table when my husband comes home from work. And they have a great lively discussion. So if you notice, there's lots of pictures in here. There's lots of concepts in here. And then what he does is we tell him what pages to work on. And then just like the My Story book and any other Master Books curriculum, you're going to have the lesson guide right at the beginning. And then you also have review sheets in here, which are their quarterly tests. So there is something to grade. So this is kind of the best of both worlds. If like me, you want to be able to have something to grade your students with. And there is a little bit of geography in here as well, so I really like that. So these are the activity pages, and they fill these out, and they obviously correspond with whatever reading they did. And then in the back, there's also activities that they can do, and crafts, and other enrichment ideas. This is a Christian biblical worldview, and it is young earth creation. So the artifact studies are really fun too. My son really, really likes these. He's got to use clay and all kinds of cool things. And then there's obviously the review sheets where it's a lot of question and answer type of things, but it's nothing like overtly difficult. And it is, you know, on par with their grade and comprehension. So this is really great stuff. They also have these dig deeper projects where they can expand upon ideas that they learned, and they give you ideas for these right here. So we really enjoy these as well. So here's just kind of an overview of this curriculum right here. Now I have one more from Master Books, and that is America's Story. This is what my youngest son will be using here coming up as soon as we start our new school year. And this is America's Story for 3rd to 6th grade. And he's super excited to start this one because he really likes all the Master Book stuff. So again, this is very much like the last one that I showed you. It's just a different time period. So obviously this is the beginning of America. So they have timeline projects and all kinds of things. And here is the inside of this one. Lots of beautiful pictures and text, and I saw him over in the corner the other day flipping through this book and reading it because he was so excited to start. So this is a really great way to get your kids involved in history. If school is not something that they enjoy, try one of these really great hands-on enriching type of curriculums. So I hope that helps you guys pick out what kind of history curriculum you want. Obviously, our favorite is Master Books, and it's the one that my kids have responded to the most, and that's the one that we're going to stick with. So I hope that you guys get a great overview of what to use for your homeschool this year or next. So I will see you guys later, and if you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will do my best to get back with you as soon as possible. Bye, guys.